Hello. How is everyone on this Sunday or possibly Monday for some of you, maybe? I'm just now realizing this. I've never welcomed the people for whom it is Monday already. How's everyone doing today? We have a really big stream ahead of us. Probably close to 15 tracks because I don't know how to count things. I thought we had a couple of slots open, um, and so I wanted to do some Ozzy stuff at the end of today's stream. Somebody in the Discord, and I apologize if you're here and I can't remember your name, but someone had introduced this concept to honor Ozzy since he recently passed, and I was like, yeah, sure, we got a couple slots open at the end of the stream. Let's do that. And then one of the slots filled in, so that's fine. And I was like, well, one extra song, whatever. But we have a double today. Two people came together and picked something longer than 7 minutes. So technically, we never had that extra slot open at all. I'm just tacking two more tracks on today. Counting is hard in your defense. Counting can certainly be hard at times, especially when you're not counting numbers. I mean, you are counting with numbers, but not counting the numbers themselves. That's where the trickiness comes in. What you thought was only representative of one is now representative of two. There is also a track today that's a little longer than 7 minutes. I didn't catch this until this morning, and it's only like 30 seconds, whatever. Just have to make sure that we stick to the 7-minute limit in the future. And I think the person who requested it's their first reaction. I mean, their first selection. I think they're new to Patreon, so I don't think that there was any maliciousness to it. I think they just didn't know that there is a limit yet, which is fine. Like I said, it's only like 30 seconds extra. Otherwise, let's get today started because I want to get into some stuff. Also, I will be taking a request at the end of the day for an Ozzy track. Could be Sabbath, could be Ozzy solo, could be him featured in another track, I suppose, if you all want to go in that direction. Just let me know. Put it in the chat and I'll pick something randomly by the end of the day. And then we will wrap up the day with a selection of mine, the song that just pops into my head the moment I hear Ozzy's name. So that's going to be our final two tracks today. But we're going to kick it off not with Yard Act. The last minute of the long track is just going into the next track. Yeah, so, depending on what's going on there, I may just cut it short by the 30 seconds anyway, so we'll see what's going on. Should be something you never heard. I'm down for Ozzy's more popular stuff too, since it's more about honoring his legacy than having me react to something. But yeah, I'm down for something I haven't heard too. I've honestly, I don't think I've listened to a whole Ozzy album. So as long as it's not, Crazy Train, Iron Man, War Pigs, you're probably safe. You give me something other than his radio hits, and I probably haven't heard it. But, like I said, I'll be randomly selecting it, so maybe it'll be something I've heard before. And if it is, I'm not going to be too upset about it. We're going to kick it off with this album cover, which is just bonkers. That's an album cover right there. I'm kind of curious how they made the blood effect, because it looks pretty good. That's not just, the old cliche of raspberry jelly. There's good coloring to that, so I'd be interested in it. I doubt this band has posted the process of making their album art, but maybe they have. It's a song of all time too. Usually find it best not to ask. Ah, jeez. All right. This one comes at us from Johnny. Smiley face. Just Fantastic. God is dead. Yeah, just go ahead and put your requests in there, and I'll keep a running tally. A bonkers count in the corner during streams. Bonkers and wild. Or should I combine them? Those are definitely my two most used adjectives, I believe. All right, Johnny, what do you have in store for us today? We're going to check out Stand Atlantic working with Polaris. The song's called Criminal. Let's dive in. Geez, that's another good one too.
Keep your mouth shut. Thanks for nothing. I'm addicted to the treatment. Get the poison in my system.
Is this new?
Shut the hell up. Thanks for nothing.
2024.
You love to see me stressed out, so I can go and self-destruct in solitude. It's
All right.
such a goddamn shame, but what's it to? Criminal, I'm criminal, a little cynical. Let me
If the whole album's like this, I'm sold.
self-destruct in solitude. It's such a goddamn shame, but what's it to you? Nice to meet ya. Hate to see ya. Pull the trigger. I'm always triggered. So off my face, I became a deep fake. Replace my headspace.
The vocal layering there is a nice touch.
You love to see me stressed out, so I can go and self-destruct in solitude. It's such a goddamn shame, but what's it to you? Are a little criminal, I'm criminal, a little.
Yeah, it's a nice mix between like hard rock and electronic. I'm down on this.
It's such a goddamn shame, but what's it to? Maybe it's criminal, so criminal, a little cynical. Let me be cynical and self-destruct in solitude. It's such a goddamn shame, but what's it to you? Make you think I'm the real deal, bitch, I'm just an outtake. Eat up all your cheapskates, here's your fucking happy meal.
Yeah, that's what I was hoping for. The dropout. I'm sold on this. Johnny, is this the whole album? Or is this just because of Polaris? That's a bit of a shame. There's quite a few collabs on this though too. The breakdown call out was fantastic though. Um, I pulled it down. I'm gonna check out more of them, even if they don't have as much of the hardcore element to it. I think I'll still dig it just because of. Well, you did say you said more alt rock stuff. Yeah, I think that could still work for me because it's still the guitars and the electronic side, and I dug the verse and the chorus to this. So, not having breakdowns in other tracks is not a deal breaker for me. Yeah, very fun song. Great production. Love all of the extra textures on the outside. Someone had mentioned, oh, Observe the Train had mentioned the arpeggios on the pipish instrument. Yeah, dude, lots of great little textures on the outside of this track, and even within the like the main melody, sort of being a collection of different sounds, particularly moving out of the first chorus into the second verse. A really nice transition there of just a collage of sounds that moved in a satisfying way, I suppose, rhythmically as well as texture and timbre. So, yeah, super catchy and can be unexpectedly creative compared to others in their genre. Yeah, I'm down for this. Johnny giving ominous context to a song, obviously down your alley, just to keep you on your toes. Yeah, dude, the smile. The thing is like, I think most of y'all are pretty sincere with your comments. But then there's a couple of people where like I have to read between the lines. It just makes me very cautious about everybody's comments. And so when I get a smile like that, I'm like, ah, geez, what am I in store for? Is this going to be is this like a sincere smile? Are we up for a reprise? What's the reprise? Oh, that's the reprise. Ah, geez, that's good. That's just me this morning, I suppose. All right, reprise done. That's fixed up. All right, next we have our double. This one comes in from I don't remember. The most brutal stuff ever. Have fun, smiley face. Yeah, exactly. Oh, you're trying to hint at the Happy Meal call out. I would never have picked that up. That's definitely something to get in retrospect. It's like I don't see smiles and immediately think Happy Meal. Now, if you had somehow put a Happy Meal emoji in there, I would have been like, what? I think I would have been more confused, but I might have, pieced it together more after the fact. Foreshadowing and hindsight. That's good. Uh, that's good. All right. Dude, if I would have seen Happy Meal emoji, I don't know what I would have thought. I would have been so confused. This is a straightforward and easily digestible pair of songs. Smiley face. And see, I'm, I don't know if I should take that at face value or not. Comes from Azathoth, and why is that? It's supposed to say it's a cruel world, I think. Um, maybe I have a length issue there. It doesn't allow for a certain amount, cuts off the end. I don't know. Anyways, believe that's supposed to be it's a cruel world. This is their combo pick, Daylight and Nightlight, the first two tracks from Aesop's 2002 album. All right. Oh, I mean the French fries. Yeah. I'm pretty sure well, see, that's the thing. Johnny sent it on Discord, which means he would have had to been part of another Discord server that had the Happy Meal emoji and had to have had Nitro. Is that what Discord's premium or subscription is called? So that you can use those in other servers. A lot of work tracking that down, and then the payment element too. It would have. I don't know if it would have been worth it, but it would have been neat. You'd pay for a month of Nitro to commit to that. Oh, jeez. Ah. Now we just got to have all August songs described by single emojis. Jeez. Sitting through 100 Discord servers just to find the Happy Meal emoji. The time it would have taken to do that. Although I guess you just need to be friends with someone else and have them put it in for you. Yeah, you just make your own. Oh, I guess you can just make your own server too, yeah. I'm making things more complicated. All right, let's kick it with Aesop Rock here with the tracks Daylight and Nightlight. Oh, you made the Donut Club emoji. I don't think I knew how that came about. I think you were the first one to get it, but I didn't know who made it.
Put one up for shackle me, not clean logic procreation. I did not invent the wheel, I was the crooked spoke adjacent. While the triple sixers lassos keep angels roped in the basement. I walk the block with a halo and a stick, poking your patience. Y'all catch a 30-second flash visual. Dirty cooperative med platoon, plume head trip split ridiculous. Fat on the splicing of first generation.
I like that melody underneath.
Any hero smack. I paced me game for 0 hour completion, green slash. Duke of early retirement, pick a dream. American nightmare hogging the screen. The door opens so you can stumble in if you stop following me round the jungle gym. Now it's honor and I spell it with the H I stole from heritage. Merit crutch stole the wretched refuse of my teaming resonance. I promise. Tempest towards breed with a bleeding conscience. See the creed accent's responsive, but my sports divorce the wattage and I'm sleeping now. Wow. Yeah, the settlers laugh. You won't be laughing when your covered wagons crash. You won't be laughing when the buses drag your brother's flags to rags. You won't be laughing when your front lawn spangled with epitaphs. Won't be laughing. Then I'll hang my boots to rest when I'm impressed. So I triple knot them and forgot them. This origami dream is beautiful, but man, those wings will never leave the ground without a feather and a lottery ticket. Now settle down. All I ever wanted was to pick up on the day, but the pieces
Oh, really pushed out to the side there.
all I ever wanted was to pick up on the day, put the pieces back together my way. All I ever wanted was to pick up on the day, put the pieces
I like the melodic flow to his vocal line too. And yeah, there's a lot of neat use of space on this. I don't think I know who Blockhead is. Has he done anything that I would know? Or worked on anything that I would know?
Slacker about intimate tabloid headline with a pulse. Shimmy cross the centerfold. And a dead time in gold. Divvy crumbs for the better souls. When 7 deadly stains did here to blame the crystal conscience. The results of low life counting on one hand what he's accomplished. Okay. Link me the activism chain. Activate street sweep. Plug deteriorating Zenobit Pendragon. I hawk sports wars for the morbid spreading of mad alley gods. Sick in your Lincoln Lord Cabin and Charlie Chaplin waddle. I could zigzag and zig 'em again, but a badge gleam sparkled in my brick wall windows. Another thick installment of one night in Gotham without the wretched. Houston, we have a problem. Attached to the festive batch of city goblins who split holiday freak on a box cut cinema high road bellow. Head rips, watch red bricks turn yellow. Sorta similar to most backbones at Camp Icarus. Raw big crowds congregating get pampered for bickering. Life's not a bitch. Life is a beautiful woman. You only call her a bitch cause she won't let you get that pussy. Maybe she didn't feel y'all shared any similar interests. Or maybe you're just an asshole who couldn't sweet talk the princess. Kiss the speaker wire. Peter pacifism pegging threshold. Stomach full of halo kibbles. Wingspan cast black upon visuals. Hit a duck hunt, take a tape vision and pick apart the pixels. I got a friend of polar nature and it's all peace. When I seek similar stars but can't sit at the same feast. Metal captain, this cat is asking if I seen his little
Mirroring
boss
between the
passing
two
through
tracks?
air, but only when I pedaled past her. All I ever wanted was to pick up on the day, put the pieces back together my way. All I ever wanted was to pick up on the day, put the pieces back together my way. All I ever wanted was to pick up on the day, put the pieces back together my way. All I ever wanted was to pick up on the day, put the pieces back together my way.
I don't know that it would have caught him at all. So yeah, I appreciate the heads up. I have heard, I picked up air lines here and there. General concepts maybe. I haven't been paying a lot of attention to it. I do think it's interesting how much I can pick up though. Usually I have a tough time with so many syllables and words being thrown at me in a short time. I don't know if it's the way he delivers it or maybe I'm just getting more used to it the more hip hop I listen to. I picked up, I could stay with him.
sucker. One up for shackle me, not clean logic procreation. I did invent the wheel in a previous generation. While a triple sixers lasso.
Talking about last time he was talking about being a spoke by the wheel. Now he's saying he didn't reinvent the wheel.
30-second flash frame. Dirty cooperative med platoon. Bloom head trip split fantastic. Fathom the splicing of major league low life with anti-hero earthworm mentality. Godzilla. I pace my game for 0-hour completion. See a Cretan, still a Cretan, even speaking altered moniker. American Nightmare lost in the monitor. I hope the door opens so you can stagger.
American Nightmare referenced again.
Gutter, and I spell it with the G I stole from Get the Fuck Up. Noise crunched on the wretched refuse of my teaming dumb luck. Still I promise. Kepis brain still bleeding Amish. See the freak sucked out the wattage while 3 bears invade the comment.
Yeah, musically this is like an inversion though. It also feels closer. There's a lot of space, but it doesn't feel as large.
When you blow up dolls got a headache and won't give up the ass. I lay my kicks to rest when I'm impressed. So I staple gun them to my feet. This origami dream is beautiful. Hold the tail, watch the wings flat, but you really can't do a thing with that. All I ever wanted was to pick apart the day, swallow up the pieces, spit them at your species.
I'm curious how the melody in the background relates to Nightlife's melody, or Daylight's melody, the earlier one.
I'm pretty sure I got a pulse. Plus, we shimmy across the centerfold and her nightlight engulfed. Just let me keep the crumbs. 7 deadly stains that hit a blamed crystal conscience. The results of deadbeat trying to make $1 off a bomb thread. Link me to activism chain. Activate wild stop Pluto orbit. Set a course, then push the button. I'll swallow spores born by the laws of a morbid glut. Alias, I can spot a duck battalion by the Charlie Chaplin waddle. Zigzag and sig 'em again before the bacon pull the badge out for the lash out. Another quick installment of One Night in Gotham.
I wish I knew what those words were, because those that rhythmic flow is awesome. Hey Tedesco, welcome.
Watch red bricks turn yellow. I'm trying to meet the wizard, but a tailgating tin man holding a oil can won't let a hermit crab break in his new shell toe. Life's not a bitch. Life is a biatch who keeps the villagers circling the marketplace out searching for the G spot. Maybe she didn't feel y'all shared any similar interests.
The sexual relations of describing life as a woman, picked that up from last time. One for one response to each other.
Wingspan cast black upon fumes. Here to help release the rabid hounds and pick apart your moves. I got this friend of polar nature, and it's all P when I seek similar stars, but can't sit at the same beat. Metal captain, this cat is asking if I seen his middle lost passions. Told him yeah, gave him one last smoke and smashed him. All I ever wanted was to pick apart the day, swallow up the pieces, spit them at your species. Reach to the city of lost particles and leeches. Nightlight got me when the daylight met the evening. Nightlight, daylight, nightlight, daylight, nightlight, daylight.
I do like that. The panning really helps sell the rhythmic element here. Yeah, I'll have to look that up. I have the lyrics in front of me just because I wanted to see that line that I thought was well done. The line was zigzag and zig 'em again before the pig can pull a badge out for the lash out. Just so much good stuff. I mean, we have zigzag, and the zig is brought back, and then we also have pig later on, but the zag comes back when he pulls out the badge. You get that long A sound for the lash out. It's just like, I don't know, dude, that hit me. That was just really well done. Spiral Out had mentioned that Aesop's one of the top 3 rappers of all time for vocabulary, and I agree. I've checked out a few Aesop tracks, and the dude's wordplay and, again, just vast vocabulary. The dude, I swear, he just never repeats the same word twice, and it's just absolutely wild. And of course, a lot of it goes over my head. His ability to speak figuratively and incredibly densely with multiple layers of meaning and metaphor and connection, not just within itself and maybe cultural context, but also like past words that he said within the song, within the album. He's just a modern day poet, 100%. Basic gist is two people who each think they're better than each other for the opposite reasons. Very social commentary. Cool. Yeah, I can get behind that. I like that idea. So he's basically making a diss track for himself, calling out what the other one had said and putting their spin on it. I mean, that's not something too many people do. Maybe anyone's done. I've definitely never heard anything like it. So, yeah, I'll definitely have to check that out later. Seeing the first line where he negates what he said in the first song is kind of cool. Yeah. Most underrated dude right now, look up Ka Zodiac on YouTube. I will add that to my list. Zodiac with a K. All right, I got a tab open for that. I'm always a fan of wordplay. All right. Also, though, even aside from just I wrote a diss track to my own diss track song, I like the musical inversion here. The first song is very bright and light, airy. It's kind of hazy, like dawn. While the other one feels very dark, closed in, recluse. I also wonder if there is any relationship between the melodic ideas on the two. This one definitely is slower in that it moves through notes more slower. It also feels a bit more reverbed. It feels heavier because of that weight added from the length of the notes. But I'm curious if the note choices themselves aren't pulled from or related to the stuff from the first track. But I think it does a great job of even musically creating an opposing sound that is similar to or referencing the first. So, I mean, this is just a total package as far as artistic execution goes, of having an idea in your mind and just delivering on it on every single aspect of the art. And they're both entertaining, I think, even beyond just the artistic element to it. Hip hop doesn't always work for me. And I think having the strong textures and the constantly moving melody underneath this one really helps me engage with it. And this was a problem that I've had with not just rap in general, but even Aesop in the past, is music that just doesn't really click with me, and it becomes hyper focused on the lyrical side of things, which I think is fine for casual, but it has caused me issues with more uh, within the reaction sphere here, trying to be a bit more critical and deep, providing analysis on the music when the music kind of isn't there. It's secondary, completely functional. So this was nice for that. And if this Blockhead dude does a lot of work for Aesop's earlier works, I may have to dig into those. Or maybe he's just more melodic on the earlier works. Regardless, this might be the area where I need to dive into Aesop's discography more so than some of his more functionally designed modern music. I'm running out of words here. I am not a wordsmith. My vocabulary was reaching the ends of its limits. All right. Now we have something a little different in store for us. Is this Medico Peste? Is that second E silent? I don't know. Y'all can let me know. Ecclesiogenic psychosis. I don't know what that means. His flow is less digestible, but I do think his musicality is stronger. He's got hooks these days. Okay. Diary of a Madman is your Ozzy choice. All right, I got it. LP's first LP has good texture to it. I think I've heard of LP before, but I don't know that I've listened to anything from that artist. Reaching the ends of its limit doesn't really make... I told you, my vocabulary is lacking. Wordsmith is not a real word. I disagree with that. It may not be a documented word in like a properly esteemed dictionary, but it is a word that people use and know. Oh, ecclesiogenic. Okay. I was about to go on this thing about colloquial words, and apparently I don't need to. All right, so this is not a real word. Psychosis that originates from religious gatherings or from preaching. Oh, it's what is those compound words? There's a proper term for that though, and I can't think of what it is. Context on this comes from Jawron. As Medico Peste wasn't chosen for the mid-year highlights, I'm going to try again here. Definitely doesn't have anything to do with black metal. See, this is... does it have something to do with black metal? I don't know. But this is one of those cases where I'm reading this, I'm like, no one brought up black metal. Why are you both bringing up black metal? So, and then I see this. That definitely feels black metal-y. Right? That's not just me. Although, also, I guess, kind of like a 70s art style, too. Let me make this a little larger. The hyper-exaggerated styles and straight-line shading is definitely a bit of an older style, so this also might not be black metal. I don't know. I can read the logo of the band, too, so... These are the kind of things I have to think about now to prepare my mind for the music y'all suggest to me. All right. The album art? I think the album art's very interesting. Let's dive into this. See what's going on with Medico Peste. Oh, well, that's metal. Oh, all right. Very textured, eerie, loud, large. And there it is. It's very clearly defined though. I think the production on this is very solid. I mean, I can make out every instrument. I can make out words from the vocalist. Ooh. The way that the guitars and drums lined up after that last vocal line reminded me of thrash metal. just hanging on to that note. I don't really get a lot of the sludge out of this. Well, okay, there. It's also a bit of a thicker tone than black metal typically uses too. So I can see where you could pull a sludgy element out of it. Yeah, I dig the guitar work on this too. We do have those 16th notes, make atmosphere with dyads thing that black metal does well, but there's been a lot of strong riffage on this too. The bass coming in, just doing some fun stuff here. Is that a vocalist or a theremin? A vocalist, okay. Huh. Oh, okay, that's neat. Yeah, I gotta fix everything that I just messed up. Dude, the bass on this is really nice too. And it's interesting that Pear had called the atmospheric element much earlier than I would have. There definitely was a bit more atmospheric there at the beginning, but they leaned into it really hard. A new shirt that I'm wearing, I don't think this is new. Kicking it old school with the Atari. I don't think I've worn it too often though for reactions, because I found it in the back of my drawer. I've had it for a couple of years now, but just never wore it, I guess. But I was going through my clothes and I was like, dude, there's this whole stack of shirts back here. What's going on here? I pull this one. I'm like, oh, dude, I remember this. Too much of the same riffage towards the end. I don't know. I think I really liked the bass, and then we eventually got the 16th note picking on top of it. So I think that the riff itself was fine enough. Was played. What am I trying to say here? It wasn't played too much while it was the lead element, and then it became the atmospheric element. I think generally it worked for me. But I don't know. Maybe on another listen, it won't it. There's always that thing too. This song was interesting though. We started out very metallic, sure. Went into a dark, a blackened root, and then went Dark Circus. Felt the ending started to drag. Okay, maybe it was just me then. That's unusual. Usually I'm the first one to jump on the pacing element. But see, okay, all right, here's where I want to talk about this thing real quick. The first two sections, I don't think interested me too much. Very straightforward metal. First, we start off more of like a deathy realm, I guess, maybe like a slow death. And then we went into pretty straightforward black metal stuff. These two sections, I was like, okay, it's fine. Production was great. Riffage was generally fine. But then the part after that really reminded me of thrash. The way that the drums and guitars worked together, the sound of the instruments weren't very thrashy, but the riffage, the composition was. And we kind of stuck with this idea for a minute or so. And then, of course, we went into the strange outro of this that they kept going for the entirety of that run. We never went anywhere else. But I find that to be interesting. It is an eclectic combination of sounds to mix with metal, though, and I think that is what I get most out of this. And at the beginning, Leon had mentioned that it was an interesting album, and I was like, okay. And then the song kicks in. I'm like, okay, that's it's pretty straightforward. And then we got some black metal. I was like, that's pretty straightforward. Where's the interesting part? But there is actually a lot of inspirations, various inspirations within the metal realm put into this track here. And it ended up being quite a bit more diverse, melodic, atmospheric, and harmonically interesting than I expected given the first two sections of the track. So I kind of started on this one a little uneasy, but as it continued to go on, I found myself appreciating it and even enjoying what it was doing more and more. And the clear production on it is something that I will consistently praise. Being able to hear the bass not only just support, but play counterpoint to the guitar at the end, phenomenal. Being able to understand what the vocalist is saying in some parts, that's just excellent. And it still feels noisy and weighty and oppressive when it needs to. So yeah, this isn't necessarily something I'm going to go and seek out more of, but I appreciated it and enjoyed it more than I thought I would, given the beginning of it. So that's always neat. Y'all give me 1 second and be right back. All right. I'll be back with a cyborg visual. Ah, geez. I need to get around to working on Livestream interface 3.0 with more transitions and animations, and apparently memes are a big thing on Twitch too. I don't know if I'm going to go that route, but I've just been watching a couple of Twitch streams with a lot of animation and like connectivity with stuff. Like whenever there's a new subscriber, like it pops up on the screen, there's animations and sounds and stuff. So I've been looking into how to do this, and I found out about StreamerBot. I just need to like do it, and maybe having some sort of I'll be back thing will be something I do in the future, because it does sound fun, and I think the live streams are definitely an opportunity for me to bring a bit more fun to the channel. I feel like the reactions are like this super serious time to do serious stuff, and I chuckle, I make jokes, but it is mostly about what makes the music great. Just try to stay on focus. Lighten up the streams and stuff like that, do the fun stuff. Have Arnold on my stream saying things for me. I don't know. Sounds like a blast, but I don't know how to do it yet. Where is... Oh, that's fun. I closed a browser window I needed. Good job, Brian. All right, next up is Yard Act. Wait, I didn't close it? Where did it go? Dude, I'm so confused. Okay, anyways, Yard Act, down by the stream. I'm just going to pretend I know what I'm doing and that I'm a professional. All right. You know the band? Yeah, dude. I don't think I've listened to them on my own yet either, but we have had them a couple of times. We already have GIFs and clips from you to choose from. Yeah. I need to collect some of those GIFs that y'all have made and start to incorporate them into the stream. Communication in real time is certainly an advantage with live streams. I agree. And something that I've wanted to do in the past, but I'm just not sure the best way to do it, is doing the album reactions live. Now, I know that's going to turn them into like 5-hour videos because we'll have conversations going in breaks and stuff like that. And we'll get derailed and start talking about other stuff. But having, getting the ability to get context that I'm not getting from the music, from, Wikipedia or Genius or whatever, about albums, I think can certainly help me, especially on the ones where I'm just kind of a bit lost on the music and, I'm just not connecting with it very well. I think those albums would benefit the best from it. But the problem is timing. When I record my album reactions, I don't think a lot of people are going to be able to show up. So I think that would be best to do something midday on Saturday. I think looking at like Twitch numbers in general, it's probably a really good day to do it, but that's not a good day for me, unfortunately. So pay someone to stay the whole album reaction. Just go out and find somebody who's super knowledgeable about it. Just do a one-on-one reaction. That sounds kind of fun too, actually, though. I don't know. I hadn't considered that, but I'm gonna write that down. One-on-one album reaction. All right. Yard Act comes from... No, how? I saved this. I'm a little upset. I just took time to fix all of this, and it's telling me it's not fixed. Why is it doing this to me? Okay, let's see. Requester. Dun, 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 dun. Oh, I actually know why. It was my fault, as usual. Pepcac. So I'll take the blame on this one. And comment was, I believe, no comment. I apologize about the the delays going on today. I'm a little out of sorts, it seems. I thought we were going to be good, and here we are not being good, especially not for time if I want to add some extra stuff at the end of this one. But as I mentioned on Discord, just expect this to be 2.5 hours long. I didn't know it was going to be because of this, technical difficulties along the way. But whatever, here we go. This one comes from Ames. No context. All right, Yard Act, down by the stream. Let's see what's going on with this one.
Well, when Peter Pullen turned 13, he threw a party in Partington for the whole team, and it was him.
I have seen a little bit of Walterowski's stuff. He seems like a cool guy to hang out with. Doing a reaction collab would actually be a blast. Yeah, for some reason, like I said, we've heard Yard Act before, and I was expecting punk, post-hardcore, not experimental hip-hop.
Down by the stream, I wore these beige chinos, swore they were just cream jeans. Their red eyes chuckling when suddenly Jono screamed, "Ah!" Pellet in his leg, couple more shots, whizzed past, felt fast. Probably not just the shock of the shot, so we ducked behind the rocks. We crawled through the dead leaves and the moss, up the path and ran all the way back. We didn't let up until we got past the bus stop near Joanna's house. Phil popped that pellet out with a hot box cutter. And Jono didn't cry at all, he didn't even stutter, yeah. Jono was alright, Jono was a good guy. I think his dad came over from somewhere else or somewhere, sometime in 85 or 86, or maybe he was from Milton Keynes. I can't really remember.
This is my kind of hip-hop, that he's just rambling at this point.
Till he was 4, 'cause he had this weird wax wound up in his ears. So he spoke a little slow and I was a prick about it, and picked on him, bullied him before he found his feet here, cause, well, I don't know why, but I did, and I gotta live with it. Maybe it was just kids
Dude, this
being
is fun.
kids, or maybe it was just my inner ape bearing its teeth. I might have been a prick, sure, but I was just insecure, and who gets to decide what's being snide and what's just giving you what you're good for? We were all good in the end, I think. He never held it against me. We ended up on a school trip to Blackpool when we hit 16, sharing cheap pills that weren't too strong, but lasted long enough to take the edge off life getting real, and draw the curves
Never
on
heard
life
of them.
feeling just
They're
that
like this,
little
though?
bit. The sharks start circling and the nights get longer. Jono, I never said sorry to your face, so I'll say it in this song. I was young, but more so I was wrong. And I swear down, if I found out my own son had been picking on someone, but when he came home from school, I'd grab that little fucker by his rucksack, pin him up to the wall and scream in his face until he'd never dare make another person feel shitty at all. Cause they picked on me too, so I know, same as you, that the pain never really goes away. It just finds new places to hide inside the darkest nooks and crannies of your brain. Again and again, it surprises you every time you find it. The old cycle of abuse. He did it to me, so I'll do it to you. And it don't matter if you're tough as old boots. There's no margin for error in this world. There's absolutely no excuse. All the very fibres of our being afraid to the point of exhaustion for a bit of harmless fun. Jesus Christ, I never meant to hurt anyone.
And I was troubled too, I was lost. I lived under a storm cloud when I was just a boy like you.
Well, huh. Ah, That took a dark turn. I was going to comment about how the more eclectic choices in the music, kind of creating something a bit more experimental with its choice of samples and sounds and textures, by itself would normally have me a bit reeling from the song, hoping for something else to happen. But with the lyrics there and the groove that and the beat that generally exists under that, this definitely goes on the Brian went speechless list. Yeah. Um, but having all these more traditional elements, the groove, the beats, and even the rhythmic flow, having the story told to me, it sort of covers up the musical choices that I'm not a super big fan of. They're all very neat. I like the idea that they're working outside the box with them, but there are quite a bit of sounds that just wasn't a big fan of. And so kind of the opposite, where the rapping elements and the more static like hip hop beats, I think saved the song. Where usually in hip hop, that's the parts that kind of distract me a little bit and keep me from enjoying it as much as I would. That's what I was going to talk about. And then the end happened, and it just gets really dark and heavy and real. You know, there was all that rambling just kind of going on at the beginning. It just kind of feels light and bouncy. We got the scratching, we got the sick beat. And then he twisted into a PSA about mental health. Yeah, dude, that's solid. I'm still not entirely sure about that little sung 15 seconds at the final end of the track. Maybe if I had listened to the words, I was so gobsmacked there, though, that I was just trying to figure out what I just listened to and find words because I knew moments from now people are going to expect me to talk about this. And my brain was still processing. Dang, though. I'm pretty sure I've enjoyed Yardak before, but I don't know if I've been that enthusiastic about a track. I'm gonna have to check out more of them. Maybe just whatever this album is. I'm on board for this though. We got some Arch Echo or possibly Arc Echo. I've been informed that you can pronounce ARCH as Arc, and like, yeah, I knew that, but I didn't know it. I found out that it's not Archspire. The extreme metal band is Arcspire. And just like, no. So maybe this is Arc Echo. No one knows anymore. Their lyrics are always a bit darker, and if not, the positivity is possibly cynical. Okay. Something to expect going into their music then. Alright, this one comes from 2112. Nothing crazy, but love this new Arch Echo song in particular. Their keyboardist is as good as ever. One of the best prog fusion bands out there. I've been enamored with everything I've heard from them. Just I haven't dug into any of their stuff yet. Lots of lyrical songs to zero lyrical songs. Yeah. Let's dive in. Wait, where? Oh, it is this one. All right. Let's see what they're bringing to the table. Oh yeah, this is exactly what I want from them. Leon. Have a good rest of your day. You know what this song reminds me of, though? And maybe a lot of their music does too. I just didn't know about this other group until after I heard this band's. Dirty Loops. Mario Kart Final Race. Why can I hear that? Oh, jeez. Fun little rhythmic djenty stuff going on. All of this in 4/4 too. I don't think we've deviated from that at all. Yeah. Even more of a darker sound. I don't think I've ever heard anything they've done this heavy. Yeah, I can hear that. It definitely went to a heavy gent sounds. Very rhythmically jagged. Yeah. Very interesting stuff. Like I said, I've never heard them go that heavy. To me, they've always been that bright sort of prog rock sound, bringing in funkier ideas and groovier rhythms alongside a prog rock atmosphere. We got a lot of that at the beginning. And that was what I expected from them. I think that was even the first thing I said was, yeah, this is what I expect from Arch Echo. The song quickly devolves, though, of finding a way to spiral into darker and heavier ideas until we get into straight up fusion gent. And Observe the Train saying that it was very periphery sounding there is absolutely 100% true. And that's just not anything I would expect from them. Overall, very bright and joyful. Yeah. Yeah, it never really hits like a metal heaviness or weight or anything like that. It never goes into super dark harmonies either. There's always a brightness to it, but it does spiral down a bit and find something a bit heavier, very metallic in the peak of it. The keyboardist, though, absolutely still just killing it, dude. His speed and dexterity and just everything during those melodies. Wild stuff. I'd love to see a music video of whatever their latest stuff might be, because that guy is always just a blast to watch. Just shredding over there on the keyboard. Yeah, and I think the song was paced rather well too. I mean, it was just hitting section after section. Didn't feel like 5 minutes of music, so very snarky puppy. Yeah, at least I assume snarky puppy is where you're alluding to. Yeah, I can see that too, especially in some of the rhythmic and groove elements. The other thing too, speaking of that, is that this whole thing's in 4/4, as far as I could tell. Some of these sections push against that real hard, and they like to use fun tuplets, but it's all still 4/4. Yeah, very snarky puppy. Also, you mentioned Periphery, and I was like, dude, I ain't heard from them in a while. Have they announced Periphery 6 yet? No, but last year they did release 2 acoustic versions of some of their older music, and I didn't know about that, so I'm going to have to listen to that this week. Or maybe next. But it was for the song Scarlet from Periphery 2 and It's Only Smiles from Periphery 4, and I like both of those tracks. So acoustic versions of that's going to be nice, I think. They're so good, dude. I'm excited. I don't know how I missed them. When they dropped the singles off of Periphery 5, I knew about that. And somehow these acoustic tracks went under my radar. Yes, I did see that that's who they were working with. He's toured with them, it says, and has performed the acoustic tracks on tour. So that's very cool. I like to hear that. All right. Next up, we have some music from a video game. Soma Tanizaki, writing music for the Elden Ring Night Rain game. I think that's what it's called. Caligo, Miasma of Night. I suppose this is another boss track. Oh, you got to see him live? Dude, that would have been so good. I still think it's wild that Periphery and Human Abstract are probably my 2 top metal bands. And I've never seen either one of them live. And in the case of Human Abstract, I never will, since they broke up. And Periphery, I kind of get the feeling that they're kind of done. They come together every once in a while, but they have so many solo projects now. I don't see them making another album for a while, so I don't know if I'll ever get to see them live. How does that happen? I've seen bands I don't like live. My 2 top favorite metal. I make poor decisions, I suppose, when it comes to live shows. We're going to be looking at Soma Tanizaki here. We have a comment on this from Arkonji. Promise to give you more Night Rain and the opposite of the Liber theme from last month. This piece is written by Soma and is much more melancholy, piano and strings focused piece. Arguably, bell focused. Best piano and a boss theme in a Souls game. Yes, better than Gwyn's theme. Fight me. Some context, Caligo is an ice dragon, and the misty atmosphere really vibes with this theme. Sadly, there's quite an obvious phase transition, but it is lacking the distant, bone-chilling scream from the boss and the shattering frozen sky that it syncs up beautifully with during play. I'm excited for this. Still never really been to a lot of concerts, excluding symphonies and orchestras, just Rush and Caligula's Horse. I bet that's still a blast, though, dude. Rush Live's got to be great. Have I been to a metal concert? Ginger. I think that might be one of the only metal concerts I've ever been to. Post-hardcore, emo, alternative rock, been to a lot of that. jazz, of course, classical. Ginger might be the only metal band I've seen. Although, oh no, I didn't go there for them. I was going to say Cradle of Filth opened for them, but I didn't go see them. I saw a music video for Cradle of Filth, and I was like, that music is garbage. Why would I go see that? And I showed up late to the show. Geez, little did I know I'd be reacting to that same stuff like half a year later. So funny how life works out. A Perfect Circle, I think, would be pretty cool to see. I'm gonna get this rolling. Y'all keep talking about some of your favorite concerts, though. That's that. Where's the tab? There's the tab. All right, let's go. Dude, local jazz stuff is so good. That's honestly my favorite setting to watch jazz and just kind of show up at a club. Very epic. The silhouette of the boss feels kind of church-like. I gotta see this. It's interesting that there is some danger, some darkness in this, but it's not just that. There's a lot of beauty in this. How do I know their local jazz is so... to be fair, all local jazz is good. Even when it's not great, it's still good. Deftones with Def would be absolutely wild. So that would be where the boss screams or something? The transition part of the fight? That's fair. I mean, the older you get, the harder it is to count anything, especially if you've been doing it your whole life. Dude, there's a lot of majestic elements to this. I don't know the story of why you're fighting this dragon, but I would feel really bad about killing it. Oh, another transition. Oh, okay, now we have a little bit of danger creeping in. I love that little piano line down there. No story, just vibe. I like how it still incorporates some of those majestic regal elements into this more dangerous theme. But there's still a lot of sorrow, like, brewing underneath all of this. Where'd that come from? Oh, because these bosses needed to be harder. They're putting a third stage on them. More driving energy. That's so gorgeous. Yeah, dude, I'm misting up a little bit. It's definitely an over-the-top sappy version of sorrow on the piano, especially with the reverb, especially in that range. Really hammering home the sad element to that. But it's effective, man. That entire song, even in the more dangerous elements, still has this sad component to it. Like I said, I would not be happy about fighting this dragon. I don't know why I'm doing it. And if there's no story, it's just like you probably attack the dragon. You have to go to his domain usually, right? Boss rooms you enter in from soft games. So yeah, dude, to me it just feels like the unnecessary death of a majestic creature. That's what the song tells me. While still having, I think, something that feels very cold about it. This isn't a warm, bright song. It's very blue. It's very cold. I think it matches this whole ice theme going on. And the melancholic elements just exacerbate that feeling of coldness. I do like also how the themes work with each other too. While we do have three distinct segments, they do reference each other. Whether it's an emotional reference or a specific melody, bringing back a motif in a new context, they're all interconnected. They're different sides of the same coin, three sides of the same coin, if you will. And I just think that's really masterful writing. I think this is the fifth song that we have checked out from one of the games made by From Software, and they've all been excellent. I don't think they've all been the same composers, but there's such effective storytelling components to the characters that the themes are for. I've never played any of these games other than Bloodborne. Y'all told me to do it, and wait, I think y'all have told me to play Bloodborne, but I think this was before that. Anyways, I never made it past the first boss. I gave up after like 6 hours. So, but I've never played a FromSoft game, and yet when you all hand me these songs, I can immediately feel and make educated guesses about the characters that the themes are for. And in the case of the full reactions, you know, people have come into the comments, dude, you're spot on. This is the lore of the character. I'm like, it's not, I mean, me, yes, I do have the skill in reading it, but the composer put that information in there. That's who needs the praise on this stuff. So, yeah, maybe instead of playing the games, I'll just get through all the albums, the soundtracks for these games, and call that a win in my books. Getting to experience great art without the frustration of the game itself. All right, we got some Violet Pony here who we haven't had on the channel for a while. I've quite enjoyed what I've been exposed to from them. What is this one called? Angel with a Longshot. And it's an overture. This one comes from Inky, jumping off the Game Streamer meme video from last stream. Here's Violet Pony's adjacent new release, wrapping back to Sincerity. This is the opening of an album about the Disco Elysium narrator, not featured in this track, teaching an obnoxious Call of Duty streamer named Top 5 Videos how to love herself and grow to be a better and happier person, for she cannot, in fact, just quickscope her problems away. It's all about the game. That is one of my all-time favorite lines. If I were younger, I'd probably use that. Hey, you can't quickscope your problems away, bro. Go see a therapist. Meet your life issues head on. Oh, jeez. All right. Violet Pony, Angel with a Longshot. Let's see what's going on with this one.
Does it piss you off when I sound like this? Your anger makes it all worth it.
Hardcore team deathmatch.
Let me do the
Yeah, yours is coming up soon, so you came in at a good time.
Did you just get here, son? I knew you knew I knew all along.
What? bass in this is phenomenal. Really cool synth textures on the outside of that too, creating a higher pitch atmosphere around the really low end rhythmic devices. It's interesting how this one rhythm has shown up across 3 different electronic textures now. Dude, this is so much sound.
You're listening to 32.7 The Creek. The Creek.
Dr. Turtle in the nature.
Equestria's hottest station, now in Feather Dance's world.
Our whole team at Ear Crush is rocking out to this track.
Call our number at 328 to get a word in.
Pre-cloud. Why did you crash? The locust reveal.
Huntress.
What was the Skrillex joke?
And here, it's all about the game. And now announcing Lodestar.
Oh, I don't know. Bangarang's words or samples. I just know when he shouts Bangarang, and then the music that comes right after that. Oh, the melody. Dang, I can't believe I missed that then. I was paying more attention to the channel surfing than anything happening under it. Yeah, dude, this is a lot. What genre is this? Because there's certainly a bit of dubstep in here, so I find it interesting that there is Skrillex being referenced at the outro. But the beginning was very was it hyperpop? Is that what it's called? And everything in between kind of gets, I don't know, amorphous, difficult to describe. I mean, we definitely had some sort of electronic poppy emo music in one of those sections. It's all over the place. I don't know what to classify this as. I don't know how to understand it. EDM and EDM for real? I mean, maybe sections in this I'd classify as EDM. Electropop, I think, might fit a little bit better, though, because of the genre bending. Exactly. Electropop can just kind of cover a vast element of popular techniques within an electronic format. EDM feels a bit too contained and digestible, which I don't think this is. I think particular sections can be, but overall, this is a lot of stuff. And it's constant all over the place. Does the ability to dance to said music determine if it's EDM? I'm going to say yes, but I might be very wrong on that. It might not actually be a component of it. There's more EDM leaning. Oh, so that's the album's genre listing. So that makes sense. I did have the lyrics pulled up on this one just because I wanted to try to get a grasp of what's going on because the music was going over my head. I needed something to hang on to. And I don't know, it didn't really help either. I think it would take me a full, like, solid read through on this to make connections, following it along while I'm trying to also listen to the music. I did not have enough attention on it. But I think I'm just going to say I enjoyed that. As always with Violet Pony's work, there's a smorgasbord of ideas, at least in what I've heard from Violet Pony, is a lot of ideas being brought together into something that is both cohesive and exploratory. And I think that's what we're getting here as well. There's a lot of things going on, not just musical, but even lyrical. There's so many interjected lines that get stuffed underneath and around the core melodic vocal part. So it's a lot, but it all works together. And I think that's the thing that stands out to me with this work, is just how fluid everything is, despite how disjointed everything is. Like I even mentioned somewhere towards the end of the song, there was that one rhythm that had lasted despite all of the textures changing, despite the vocal texture and production being changed multiple times. This one rhythmic device was carried over from one synth sound to the next with minor alteration to it, allowing it to evolve but still retain that element of connectivity to be that thread that guided us through that portion of the song. Every build-up, every drop feels like it works within the context of what came around it, despite the fact that there is constant and consistent changing and shifting ideas on the production side, on the sonic side, on the melodic and rhythmic side. It really is impressive how cohesive this feels despite everything that goes on in it. And I think that's my big takeaway on this one. Yeah, dude, insanely good. Her ability to just weave everything together is mind-boggling. And are those the albums or are those single songs? I didn't get to anything additionally of hers. I do have it, an album. I think I have an album. Whatever the one that we listened to on like a full reaction for. Violet Pony. Yeah, so whatever Hush came off of is in my Spotify. Something to listen to in the future. I just haven't gotten around to it yet. That was Carousel? Okay. But no, I haven't had a chance yet. Hopefully, though, that's going to change. My listening time should ramp up drastically starting next month. School kicks back in. I have a new album format ready to try out with the channel. And we're going to be able to talk about albums way more often than we currently do. And it's going to focus more on modern stuff, but also stuff that I want to check out from the past. Like I still want to kind of get through a lot of the most prominent albums in post-hardcore's history, starting from the beginning. And these are things that I think we're going to get around to this year. So I'm excited about it. And it's going to be good. And Violet Pony's works will probably be a part of that. All 5 acts of Deer Hunter, that's going to be in this thing as well. Lots of stuff I've been meaning to get around to that people want to see me get around to. We're going to start doing that. So I'm excited. Hope you all are excited about that. I know the thing is that at a certain point, single song reactions, there's just not a lot to dive into, especially if it's a band I've heard before a lot. That kind of, don't change their sound too much. So I think the next step is album reactions. And I think I found a way to do it in a way that doesn't require me to take 3 to 6 hours every time I want to make one in order to put the reaction together. while also allowing me to do something else I've been wanting to do, which is something a bit more semi-scripted. So those are the only teasers I'm going to give for right now. Next up, I Promised the World 2. Oh boy. Some Mallcore revival. Dude, I'm down for this. Cameron, Mallcore is going to be good. I'm glad you're suggesting it. Just require people to request new groups you haven't heard yet. There's so much out there. I don't know if I want to force that requirement, because the more popular bands also are the ones that are helping me with the metrics and analytics of YouTube, which I don't want to say drive any of my choices, but they have to. It's part of the financial and business side of this that I have ignored for a long time, and it's kind of becoming more and more difficult not to work within those constraints a bit. So I don't know if I would ever completely rule out specific bands, but a lot of the time I'll make a reaction and I'll be like, it was good, but I was missing something. And inevitably comments come in, dude, it's a full album experience. You can't listen to it track by track. You're missing this context from the previous track, and that helps balance the music. And this one, I'm like, yeah, obviously, dude, everything I check out is album experiences, especially in metal and rock. There's not a lot of stuff that's works, phenomenally well as single songs. Pop, I think, works better as singles are certainly becoming more prominent. But even then, album experiences are still part of the equation in some capacity. So, and like I said, it just feels like a natural step forward to try to focus on that more. Except one? Which one? Maybe some sort of compromise? Might be something worth looking going forward. But even when I think of the most requested bands, Between the Buried and Me probably still sits at the top. We have like 13 or 14 reactions to them. Opeth, Leprous is probably pretty played. The Ocean, I'd say, is in the top as well. But these are bands who are progressive and tend to change from song to song, album to album. So I don't know, restricting those seems kind of unfair, given that they can be doing something totally different on the next thing I check out. So it's kind of tough to do without knowing what I'm getting into. And that would kind of defeat the purpose of a first-time reaction if I knew what was going on and have the ability to say, it's a little too similar to what we've checked out in the past. So I don't think there's any way around it, unfortunately, without having some sort of team to vet incoming requests, which, one, I'm not there yet. Financially, like as a YouTuber, I think I'd need to hit 1 million first where I can have a team who helps me produce the videos. But I honestly, there's some good stuff's going to slip through the cracks that way too. So there's just nothing perfect, right? Isn't that the joy of humanity? Nothing's perfect. I Promise the World is where we're going to next. Did y'all ever hear this? I'm kind of curious when this played, because it does, when would this have played out? I don't know. Maybe I got lucky and it was playing before the stream started. I really hope it didn't get mixed up with another song, but I guess we're going to find out in a second. This one comes from, Mallcore. Yeah, I don't think we heard anything like this earlier, so. All right, let's kick it. I like that compound rhythm there. All three instruments kind of have their own rhythmic pulse. I think I finally picked up on what you meant, Arkonji. One band that I have banned. I don't know why it took me so long for that to click. Mallcore is hardcore music that you would hear not necessarily around the mall, but like alternative stores that you'd find at the mall, like a Spencer's or a Hot Topic would play something like this. So this is new, right? Yeah, Revival. That's it, right? That's a short song. Yep. I want to like this. I really do. I grew up on stuff like this, but it's just a bit too extreme for me personally. I think they do a great job for the gnarlier side of particularly the vocals. It definitely feels like I'm back in the 2000s. I feel like a teenager again. There we go. Accessible. Mainstream, I think, would be another one. And, now that I think about it, why didn't they ever just call it mainstream hardcore? Makes me wonder if Mall Screamo or what did they call it? Mall Goth? Was that another thing? Which one came first that influenced the let's just tack mall in front of it to mean mainstream? But yeah, it brings me back to my teenage years. I enjoy it, but I think I like the more melodic elements first and foremost. The multiple rhythmic devices we had in the intro, the dual vocals, clean and heavy, that we saw in that first vocal section, little bit more clean vocals we heard in the middle of the song. I like these a lot more than just the breakdown with screaming on top. But I can't shake the feeling that I want more. Like I said, there's a nostalgia to this that I'm absolutely enjoying. I'm gonna have to check out more of them. I didn't know we were having a mallcore revival, so I'm kind of excited about that. Were you a skater? Oh. Yeah. This board I've had for like 12 years or so. I also have a ripstick in the garage that I use quite a bit more frequently now. I don't know why. As I got older, I just gravitated more to ripsticks, which is pretty cool. And recently picked up a motor scooter. These things are pretty cool. I got it on clearance. A little bit of an impulse buy there. Never really was much of a scooter person as a kid, but I always liked watching people with their razors like grinding on stuff. That was cool. But yeah, I've always been sort of an outdoorsy, sportsy kind of person in a sense. You know, there's definitely the nerd side of me. It just likes to sit inside on a screen all day too. But yeah, went out skateboarding. Never hit half pipes, so I was always a street skater. Always liked Rodney Mullen and tried to pull off a lot of flatland tricks like he did. I never did well. I would not call myself a good trick skater, but I tried. But yeah, man, those were the good old days when you just break a bone and walk it off like nothing. Now I'll break a bone and I'm out of commission for a while. Oh, I did break a bone actually. The only bone I've broken. I was using that like, as a phrase, figuratively breaking bones. But I did actually break my right clavicle while inline skating once. Yep. So there we go. Skating, skateboarding, ripsticking, and now scootering. Yeah, I definitely like this sort of stuff. Where did you get skater though? I don't think I've ever worn any sort of skater personality on my shoulder, so to speak. It's an interesting thing that you call that out. Kind of curious about that one. Had to Google a ripstick. Yeah, dude, ripsticks are cool. It's like two boards with a bar in the middle, and it can rotate. The two pieces can rotate independently. And it has two caster wheels under it, and by swiveling your hips, you'll actually fluctuate the two and generate momentum that way. And it's sort of like surfboarding on wheels on land. And they're just phenomenal, super cool stuff. I love my ripstick. So I used to ripstick to work, used to ripstick to the local Taco Bell. I don't do that stuff so much anymore. Get too old. It's too hot out these days too, dude. I don't want to get on about temperature, but I do feel like it is hotter than it's ever been in my life. Intuition, interesting. Very interesting. All right. I enjoyed that though. Like I said, I don't have a lot to say about it. I do like the more melodic parts better, but I got to check out more. Nostalgia is just strong with that one. All right. We have record temperatures in Turkey. 50 Celsius. Dude, what? That's got to be over 110 at least in Fahrenheit. 122. Good gravy. Yeah, dude, that's in Turkey. That's wild. Absolutely wild. I think our hottest day last year in the summer was like 114, 115. So I mean, we're closer to the equator than Turkey too. The heat waves are getting worse. Yeah, like me thinking 122 Fahrenheit, 50 Celsius in Europe. That just blows my mind. That doesn't make any sense to me. Oh, I should like the track because it has skater potential. That's the kind of intuition I want to hear about. I would never have clicked skater potential with that, but it is a song I could have heard in a Tony Hawk Tony Hawk video game. So yeah. And actually, speaking about my nerd side and my outside do stuff physical side, I picked up a skateboard because of the Tony Hawk video games. I thought they were fun to play, loved them. I was like, let's go buy a skateboard. And that's how that happened. Video games made me more physical, I suppose. Cattle Decap's been warning us for 20 years. 100%. All right, next up we have some Empire. Is that legit cattle decapitation lyrics? Because like it's a bit on the nose, but I mean that's kind of Cattle Decap's thing too, being very on the nose. Empire, Amia Venera Landscape, Amia Venera Landscape. That has more flow to it, but I don't know if that makes it righter. Gengardevoir. My pick is Empire. Wait, I have those backwards. The artist is Amia Venera Landscape. Yep, Empire is a song. Good catch. This is a band that I actually found from another Discord album review chat. They sadly only seem to have released one album before disappearing into the void, but they have a really progressive take on post-hardcore. Dude, this is going to be 2 for 2. I feel like I haven't heard much else like it. The track is the opener, which is my favorite. I feel like it does a pretty good job of encapsulating their sound well. The last minute of the song is very much meant as a transition into the second track, and it makes the ending possibly seem a bit awkward. All right. Yeah, I'm going to get those flips back to the way they should be as the song plays. Let's dive into this. I'm excited. Back-to-back post-hardcore. Also, we are coming up on the end of the stream, so if you have any Ozzy Osbourne song that you'd like me to check out, let me know. I'll put it in the list to be randomly selected from. Gotta have a breakdown. Very fun rhythm there. There's something very bleak about this entire song. And I think this really hits it at the most dreariest. The drummer. Very interesting pattern for that section. Yeah. This whole atmospheric outro feels very post-metal to me, though. Has the most post-metal too? Yeah, it started out definitely in like Dillinger style post-hardcore area, but the further we get into the track, the more it started to feel like the ocean, or maybe even why do I always forget their name? Converge? I can definitely see. Yeah, it's just very large, very important, mighty in majesty, 100%. Atmospheric sludge, yeah, I can hear some of that in it too. Dude, that is the worst news to hear. New album's been delayed, and then radio silence. And that post is coming up on a decade old now too, so I just kind of have to give up hope on them putting another album out. What a beautiful outro, though. And you can feel the rising. Yeah, that definitely goes to the next track. Yeah, not my kind of post-hardcore. Definitely aggressive and textured more than anything throughout the entirety of that opening half. But I think they do a great job crafting the atmospheres that they do and then building that into that very oppressive and bleak and heavy, powerful ending. They did a fantastic job getting into that. The drummer in this band is bonkers. His rhythmic or his melodic flow is very interesting, heavily focusing on the snare. And what that does is, besides just crafting this more linear style of drum pattern creation, it also creates something very antagonistic and aggressive. The snare is this loud crack and it just punches through the entire song, and he uses it more and more as we push into the end of the song. And it just feels like this attack is becoming more rampant, more aggressive, more often, more frequent. It is very cool melodic drumming while still capturing and adding to the atmosphere and feeling and emotion of the song. The other songs have some cleans. I would love that. I think the vocals here tend to work across the board, but these are also the vocals that when I hear them in bands, it's like I've really got to like the music to enjoy listening to it, because the vocals just aren't, they don't do much for me. They're fine. They add to the texture. It's good. Book Doors of Stone. Are they another band that mentioned delays and then just nothing? I'll put this album on my list though. I'm interested in checking out more of them. And not a really long discography dive either. They've got, unfortunately, just this one. So, yeah. Different side of post-hardcore. Lots of metal influences in it too, so. Nice way to contrast the mallcore that we had just previous to it. We're going to wrap up our original, no, I need to hit the right button. Our original lineup with We Lost the Sea, Forgotten People. Comes from Jason. I understand why We Lost the Sea doesn't want to replace their vocalist after his passing and be just an instrumental band, but I wish they had guest spots like this sprinkled into the albums. Also, you need to check out their newest album. I like that PSA thrown at the head there. The band's name was not Empire. I had that flipped. It was the other one. Amia Venera Landscape. Book series that was super famous. The third book was going to come out soon. Like 15 years ago soon. Yeah. It's the unfortunate thing with art. Sometimes that's a situation that happens. All right. Let's dive into this one. Also sitting really close to that 7-minute limit. See what's going on with We Lost the Sea. So who's the guest spot on this one? Would I recognize them?
It's spring, time to fly, pink fairy flowers.
Yep, I don't recognize it. But I appreciate you looking it up.
Rooftops beyond the moon. Oh, can you see me waving from my room? The pretty lights that I'm spying. My blue dress is ready and ironed. Oh, I'll be brave when I ride. Ah. Oh, sweet child, it's just a peek. You can't be here with me.
And great job at crafting this isolating feeling. Very lonely. The drums are massive though, filling that space in. The melody is very repetitive though. chance, by the way, if you have an Ozzy Osbourne track that you'd like for us to react to today, let me know. We're about to head into that. We're going to randomly select one from the list. We only have 3 on the list right now, so chances are pretty good yours will get picked. This band does a fantastic job of creating a mood and just sitting in it, but like with a few other We Lost the Sea tracks that I've checked out in the past, I get disengaged with it easily. Oh, that's very interesting though. So most of this was heavier, and then you get this to heavily contrast. Want to like this, and I think the tremolo guitar is adding to my enjoyment of it. Are we getting there? Oh, here we go. The tambourine, the second set of vocals. You know what I like about it? I had mentioned that the song felt very isolating and lonely at the beginning. There was even a little bit of sorrow too, particularly this piano part. But by the end of the song, adding in more ideas recontextualizes that chordal movement into something a bit brighter, bittersweet, I think might be the way that the ending should be described. It's a nice bringing a new light to an area. I'm not a huge fan of the journey that we got on that track, but I do like the destination. And I like the way the destination contrasts and compares to where we started the song. I thought that was really nice movement. I do think, though, generally, that the melody could have been stronger. The vocalist just playing the same da-da-da over and over and over. And then at the end of every phrase, so I guess like on the 4th time, there's a resolution. There's a different melody to it. It turned the vocals into a background sound, which I suppose makes sense for We Lost the Sea. They are, as far as I know of them, very atmospheric composers. I don't really think of them as melodic writers, and having a lead melody just be something textural and repetitive to add to an atmosphere that just happens to have words to it feels right up their alley from my limited exposure to them. But like I had mentioned, We Lost the Sea, most of the time I think they knock it out of the park. They have brought me to tears with some of their atmosphere writing. But there are other songs that just don't click with me. And I think this is going to be one of them. And honestly, I really think that's on me, because if they can do phenomenal things when it does click with me, or how should I phrase that? When I click with their music, I have an emotional response to it. It's not so much that this music is worse, it's that I'm just not connecting to it. That's a me problem right there. I don't think that they're randomly just getting worse at writing music for a song like this. I think it's just that I'm not able to engage with it in the same way that I've engaged with other tracks of theirs. But as usual, like I said in the middle of this reaction, I think that they do a fantastic job at crafting emotions and crafting atmospheres. And I like the atmospheres in this. I think they're solid, well done. The textures, the rhythmic diversity, the movement throughout, adding more and more layers. And like I said, the ending is a really great place to wrap things up, both like an artistic level, but even just purely sonic musical side. I just wasn't a big fan of the journey to get there. I felt like it took too long and we didn't experience anything of interest as we walked through. I do like that vocalist though. I think that her specific timbre and texture that she brought to this worked really well at creating this wistfulness to the song, which I thought felt well, it went well with the feeling of isolation. She had just enough physicality in her voice that it didn't feel ethereal, but there was still a hesitancy, some airy breathiness to it that feels like she isn't completely locked in on delivering what she's singing, that there's a resistance to that, maybe in a discomfort, maybe a lack of confidence. Maybe it just doesn't want to do this. Whatever she's singing about isn't something she wants to confront. Anything along those lines. She does a fantastic job of delivering that idea, and it works so well with the emotional landscape of the song. So excellent choice. And I completely agree, Jason, that if this is the kind of stuff they're making with guest vocalists, they absolutely should pursue that going forward. But I also understand their position, like you said, of not wanting to replace their vocalist, whether it is permanently or temporarily for songs. I get it. They're in a bit of a rough spot with this. I've never been in that situation, but I don't know what you would do having to, losing basically a family member, someone who's, been a part of your artistic output for so long that isn't just on the work side of things. I'm sure they're friends too, like I said, family. It's a tough place to be. Speaking about losing people, Ozzy Osbourne passed this last week, and it's been kind of weird. Like, he's definitely older, but he's Ozzy, right? He was going to live forever. Something about him passing just kind of felt weird to me, like totally unexpected. I mean, we just saw him singing a couple weeks ago at the farewell tour. And, he's not full of energy. You can tell he's definitely getting a bit older, but I don't know. I was very shocked to hear it. But he's also the grandfather of metal. And that also hit me kind of hard too. Right? Right? There's no reason or logic to him living beyond our lives. Same with Betty White, but there's just something larger than life about these people. Somebody in the Discord community had mentioned to honor Ozzy, we should check out some songs on the live stream. And I said, sure, let's do it. That sounds like a great way to wrap this one up and to pay a little bit of homage to the grandfather of metal. Well, one of the grandfathers of metal, I suppose. All of Black Sabbath were really instrumental in crafting this sound and really kicking it off. We're going to pick one from the community, as it says, community Ozzy pick. And then I'm going to pick a song that I just heavily associate with Ozzy. When I hear his name, this is the song that pops into my head, no matter what. I haven't heard this song since I was 8 or 9, maybe 7, and I can still perfectly hear this song in my head. So we only have 3 requests here. One from Ozzy's solo album, Diary of a Madman, one of his solo albums, and 2 from Sabbath, God is Dead and Fairies Wear Boots. So let's pull up the old random number generator. 3 numbers, 1 result. And we get number 1, which is God is Dead. I think I've heard Fairies Wear Boots. Possibly, but I don't even recognize the other 2's titles. Question mark? Is it supposed to be a question mark? God is Dead? All right. Comes off of the album 13, which is from 2013. Oh, that's interesting. Maybe that's why I've never heard of this. Oh, actually, this was part of the context when the person had requested it earlier. Let's see. Sabbath 13. Yeah, I never heard anything off of this, so this will be interesting. Oh, this is also 9 minutes long. You know what? It's for Ozzy. Let's do it. Because I think my pick is over 7 minutes as well, so whatever. All right, let's dive into this. See what Sabbath is bringing to the table with God is Dead. Most people didn't even bother listening to this album. I didn't even know they had something like this. Sabbath to me was always an older group. I didn't know they ever got back together and did something more modern. Who was the guitarist in this era of Sabbath? Was it the same original guitarist? This sounds like Sabbath though. Original lineup, but no Bill on drums. Okay. Yep, Tony on drums. I mean, on guitar. Very moody.
Now my body is my shrine. The blood runs free, the rain turns.
Massive contrast there from the verse into this pre-chorus. Massive bass tone too. Jeez. Nice groove on that chorus as well. I'm looking at the band member timeline of Ozzy and Heaven and Hell, and this thing is massive. I've never seen a band have so many different lineup changes ever.
Swimming in sorrow, they kill, steal, and borrow. There is no tomorrow, for the sinners will be damned. Ashes to ashes. You cannot exhume a soul.
Even better, they really pulled out everyone that they knew to make this excellent.
Corruption and lust, creed of all the unjust, leaves you empty and unwhole. When will this nightmare be over? Tell me. When can I empty my head?
Yeah, I mean, if the whole album is like this, it very much feels like classic Sabbath with modern production. And I mean, this is solid.
Is God really dead? To safeguard my philosophy until my dying breath,
I can't get over that bass tone. That's just ridiculous.
reality into a living death. I empathize with enemies until the time is right. With God and Satan at my side, from darkness will come light. I watch the rain as it turns red. Give me more wine, I don't need bread. These riddles that live in my head, I don't believe that God is dead. God is dead.
Those two notes, they've been used in another Ozzy song, another Black Sabbath song. I can't think of which one it is. It's one of the more popular ones, though. They're doing a great job at painting an atmosphere, though, with the bass chugging in the back.
Nowhere to run,
Ooh.
nowhere to hide. Wondering if we will meet again on the other side. Do you believe a word? What the good book said? Or is it just a holy fairy tale and God is dead? God is dead.
Right.
God is dead. God is dead. God is dead. Right.
That last section reminded me of a Kiss song that came out about half a decade before, a decade and a half before this. Dude, the tempo transition was subtle, but very well done. Yeah, dude, that's just a solid track right there. And it's kind of uncanny how much it sounds just like their old stuff, but with modern production. I mean, that's honestly one of the things that you kind of the hurdle you have to get over. For me, anyways, not everyone, but when I listen to classic Sabbath tracks, they're very thin compared to not just modern music in general, but certainly modern metal. The riffage is there, but the recording material, the VHS stuff that those early things were recorded on, as far as video and the tapes and stuff, there's degradation to that over time. And it just doesn't have that modern sound to it. But this is wild. Ruben got grilled for his production compressed dynamic range, 100%. But I think it works in a context like this. I mean, the world went compression. The world doesn't, the Western world at least, doesn't want dynamic range in their music. You listen to anything mainstream right now, and it's all compressed down. And I think to an extent it works. In metal, it absolutely does. You cut off all of that, you can call it noise, but the character of the tone, and you flatten it all out and turn it into a wall of sound. It makes the guitars sound massive and punchy. Sure, you're losing information, but you're gaining atmosphere out of it. So I think Ruben did need to, kind of get talked about in that way. But at the same time, Rick absolutely knows what he's doing too. I mean, he did all this for a reason, and he was following trends, and it absolutely worked. Audiophiles might not like it, and it's not a catch-all for every single song. Not every song needs to be produced that way, but absolutely, a majority of what he's worked on has benefited from his style of highly compressing stuff. So somehow this track made it to Billboard Top 26. Yeah, dude. 9-minute song hitting top 26 is wild too. But also, how did I not hear about it? I mean, I'm not going to say that I sit here and listen to Billboard Top all the time, but usually the thing that hits that, top 40, give or take, are going to be played everywhere. You're going to hear them somehow. My local radio station, 2013, I don't know if I would have been listening to it a lot, but enough that I should have heard this if they were playing. I don't think they did. So that's interesting. Venetian Snares did Black Sabbath. I don't, yeah, I'd want to hear that. I was going to say, I don't know if I would want to hear that because Venetian Snares can get kind of weird, but actually it sounds pretty interesting. I wasn't listening too much to the radio, but never heard it play. Yeah. And it's Ozzy too. I mean, this is their big comeback. Even if it's not good, you think it'd be overplayed just because of hype. Even if, it only gets played for a month and then the radio station, never plays it again. Yes, it would have been talked about or something. This entire album completely flew under my radar. Now this track is a bit slow for me. I do think we probably could have I don't know if we could have got away with it being shorter because the length of it is the verse chorus and it's due to the tempo more than anything else. To cut that down, you're going to speed it up or reduce parts of it. But I do feel like it takes a long time to get to a part that I really was interested in. And that's not to say that the opening is bad. It's great atmosphere. It's very Doom or proto-Doom, however you want to view that, because this is very much classic Black Sabbath as well. But it's on the slower side. It takes its time. The riff is solid. I just don't know that I enjoyed the riff for the entire time that we listened to it. The chorus had a bit more energy to it. I liked the chorus. I like the return to the chorus at the end. That subtle retardando to bring the tempo down to that slower pulse, phenomenal. But I really like the bridge. I think that's really where it grabbed my attention. We got some neat guitar ideas in there. We had a nice riffage. The drummer got to show off a little bit more in there. Just higher energy overall. And a lot of this is the contrast too, because we were in this slower, drearier element for so long. This really feels like a rocket. It's comparatively not super fast to a lot of music out there, but based on what we were listening to, we basically slammed on the gas pedal. And then just, slowing down back into that chorus to wrap the song up. Really well done. And again, the production on this it continues to blow my mind. The bass sounds great. The drums sound great. Ozzy sounds great. The guitar sounds, everything just sounds great. It's everything that I hear in my head when I listen to these classic Ozzy tracks, but just isn't in these old videos and these old, MP3s and stuff. I love it. I do. It's just fantastic. Now, the song, I never flipped the thing over. Well, that's a bit of a shame. I meant to do that because this was supposed to say, well, it's not going to say it now because I hit the wrong button. Whatever. Just ruined my own surprise. No More Tears is the song that I think of when I think of Ozzy. My dad, when I was a kid, had a Camaro. And we always drove around with the windows down, partially because it's just cool. But I think after a couple of years, it was because the AC busted in it, which kind of sucks in Florida. But when you're a kid and you don't really get that hot anyways, and it was much cooler back then, right? Yeah, it's just fun. And we crank up the music. And there were a handful of albums that we listened to frequently. One was Kiss, Carnival of Souls, which I still hold in pretty high regard. I love that album. Solid hard rock. Metallica's Black was another one that was frequently in there, as well as Load and Reload, but we listened to those less. I wasn't a big fan of thrash as a kid, but we did listen to Master of Puppets and stuff. My dad loved earlier Metallica, but he loved all of Metallica too. I don't think there's a single album he disliked of theirs. But the other one was Ozzy's No More Tears. And maybe if I heard the album, some songs would click and I'd be like, oh, yeah, I remember that vaguely, something like that. But No More Tears, I can still hear in my head to this day. I haven't heard this song in 20 years, probably. We're going to listen to it for my first time in a long time. But I can clearly hear all this stuff in my head. It's absolutely wild. Did it get a lot of radio play? And see, maybe that's the other. Maybe I did hear it on the radio too. We did have the album though. That's for sure. Because I loved this song. I would ask for this song to be played. I would put the CD in. I would eject whatever was in there. I get in the car. Dad, can we listen to some No More Tears? Yeah, sure, go for it. I pop that CD in. I loved this song. He probably got tired of it. I know he did. You still hear it on the radio? I'm trying to think if I've ever heard anything other than Crazy Train on my local radio station. I don't think so. And even Crazy Train is a very, very rare pick. But my radio station, it's Clearwater. So any radio station that's local run by Clearwater is probably going to have a very similar playlist. But a lot of it is 90s and 2000s. They do play more modern stuff, but mostly from the bands that were big in the 90s and 2000s. And most of it is older. I think it's very rare for me to ever hear something that isn't Nirvana's Heart-Shaped Box or what's that band? They sing Remedy. Seether. See, there's Remedy. Those two songs. Oh, and Mouth of Madness. I think those three songs make up like 90% of the runtime on my local radio station. So, yeah, I don't think it's unusual that we didn't have much Ozzy just because they never played classic rock at all. You got to see Ozzy in the late 70s? Oh, he saw them in the late 70s. Dude, that would have been peak. Absolutely wild. Iron Man and Paranoid. I know Paranoid, but not because of the radio. In fact, I have like an old MIDI synthesized. Yeah, it's probably a synthesizer chip of it. It was in a old video game called Rock and Roll Racing. And every time I hear that riff, I will hear those old Genesis chiptune sounds instead of like the guitar riffs for Paranoid. It's wild. I've never really been an Ozzy fan. This album, formative, I guess. I listened to it a lot as a kid, but I've never really listened to Black Sabbath. I've never listened to anything else from Ozzy, and yet I know so much of their music. They were so prolific, and I think it just adds to the fact that they seemed larger than life, that their death is just totally unexpected. Like how? Why? Old age, of course, humanity. You know, that's just what we do, but it's still kind of wild to me. All right, No More Tears Expanded Edition. Oh, the album's the expanded edition. I'm like, what? There's an extended version of this song? All right, I've given my context for it in more words than I think most people ever give their context. That's the power I have as the owner and ruler of this here digital land. Let's dive into this and see what Ozzy's bringing to the table with No More Tears. What year was this? Dude, the synth. 91? Here I am, hoping I make it to 70 at all. I'm trying to take care of my body. Genesis in the late 70s? Why do you say that's too late? Were they a bit too old, or were they playing more modern music than you wanted to hear? This had Zakk Wylde on guitar, right? Yeah, that's gotta be. Yep, Zakk Wylde on guitar. I could just tell from the tone, the way he plays. Oh, they weren't that good anymore, dude. That's a shame, seeing them after their peak. I still know the words too, dang. Every detail, how do I remember this? The special genetics for ingesting out. What in the world is that all about? Is that legit? Oh yeah, dude, being 12 and seeing a concert's magical, even if it's not the band's peak. The rising tension of that line. don't think I ever noticed the vocal layering though. I remembered this break being a huge shift from the main song. I don't remember it being so artsy though. Whale sounds, a sample presumably from a recording, a film maybe? I remember this guitar solo though. Grid on that second to last one. You think so? Let's see. Dude, those bends. I love those bends. I don't remember that. I wish we had time to do a full stream of Ozzy stuff. I think that would be pretty cool. From what I can see, this is the only full version of the song, but there is a cut down version for the singles. Presumably radio play as well. That's about a minute and a half shorter. Oh, yeah. Yeah, for sure. I was planning on adding like in honor of Ozzy at the bottom of the thumbnail, but yeah, let's just call the whole thing it, for sure. Never understood that ending. That repeated "in the bush" though has been stuck in my head for decades. Yeah, dude, that I almost teared up twice during that one. Partly for Ozzy. Oh, that's not what I meant to hit. Partly for Ozzy, but also, remembering my dad. He passed away a few years ago, so. But Ozzy said no more tears, so I held him back. No, I don't know. Yeah, I'm glad I could. This one really hit me, and the other one was just fun to listen to. And I think they both do a great job at showing some of the great stuff Ozzy's been a part of. So I enjoyed this. You know, we are running almost for a 3-hour stream here, but I do think it was worthwhile. All right, we're gonna wrap this one up. It is nice to reminisce. Yeah. It's always good to think about those good times, I suppose. And he introduced me to a lot of my musical tastes, as far as like metal goes. So Ozzy tribute finale stream. To not promise what won't do. Oh yeah. See, that was kind of my worry a little bit, was that the theme title would make it seem like it's this massive tribute and it's only at the end. But, you know, a lot of the time the themes themselves barely come up in the stream itself. Usually a little one-off joke or something. So maybe it's not as important that it's a consistent descriptor. If you're familiar with what we do in the live streams anyways, which I assume most people going to the live streams are familiar with it. This song's about a serial killer. In the bush refers to him hiding. Well, like I can kind of get that, but isn't the line a hand in the bush? Isn't that what he says at the end? Why would you only have one hand in the bush? Unless you're hiding just your murder weapon. That doesn't seem like it kind of seems suspicious. I don't know. I think that makes me more confused about it. The song's about a serial killer? Huh. I mean, I guess part of the song, though, don't you know you're not supposed to talk to strangers? Don't you know your life's in danger? And then he tells his victim, no more tears. I can kind of see that. The bush part, though, I think I'm more intrigued about it now. Yeah, let's wrap this up then, because like I said, this has been 3 hours. This is a long one. This is a big Sunday. So, no more tears for the victims. Yeah, I think okay. So I was taking it that the victim was crying, and he tells him no more tears, but it might even be that the murder is what causes them to cry no more. Maybe. Yeah, so this wraps it up. This was a phenomenal month for reactions. Not a lot of metal, though. If you're a metalhead, it's kind of a bit dry in that department. We had some really interesting stuff all month long, though. So I'm excited about. Well, I've been excited about that. There will be a post available to everyone on Patreon tomorrow. It won't just be for people who are patrons. It'll be public, available for anyone to read. It'll be about next week, which I will be out of town for. Videos are still going to come out. There will only be one video for each week. But other than that, it should be pretty normal, except there won't be early access and there won't be a live stream on next Sunday. Is that the 3rd? Yes, because like I said, I'll be out of town. But we do have 5 Sundays in August, so we don't have any worries about scheduling issues with requests. We just won't have one next week. Otherwise, early access will be out soon. I will be streaming this Wednesday for video games. We're going to continue on with Nier. I'm not sure about Friday, but Wednesday is definite. Otherwise, I guess that's it. Just prepare for this week's theme. We've got covers coming up. It's a 2-weeker. I'm excited about that. Last time we did covers, it was a really exciting week, checking out how bands re-envisioned other people's works. So I'm looking forward to this week's and next week's as well. All right, y'all have a fantastic rest of your day. And as usual, until next time, I'll catch y'all later.